about today you decide to be the pebble that's thrown into the pond? Now, all of you at some point have probably thrown a pebble into a standing mass of water. And if you stood and watched it, you see how the ripple effect goes out, and it changes the stance of the pond or the thing of water. Why not decide today to be the pebble that you're going to, in any situation that you're involved in, you're going to allow your energy to come in and plop right in the center of that pond. And the ripple effect that comes from you can change the stance of the current pond that you're in. If you stand back sometimes and do nothing and just let the water stand, you're not really contributing as much as you could. We think all of you should decide to be bold every day and say, look, I'm not here to destroy the pond. I'm here to insert my energy into it with that pebble and perhaps make it better. Do it with good intention. Do it with a warm heart. Now, don't expect immediate results because it takes a while for the ripples to go all the way through the pond. But if you intentionally insert good energy into the environment you're in, eventually those ripples are going to change the stagnant energy and perhaps even the negative energy that exists in the pond. So every day decide to be the pebble. You do it lovingly. You do it with the expectation that things are going to be better. And you do it with the idea that, yeah, I'm just one person, but I'm pretty forceful, and I have a real belief in the goodness in people and the goodness of the universe in general. Try that. Be the pebble. Make the difference.
First question that we received on the comment section from Jeremiah Trotter, and it says, let's say a devout Catholic dies and they don't go to the pearly gates, so to speak. How do they react? What is their reaction when they find out that reincarnation is real? Also, if they choose to reincarnate, will they often re-enter into another Catholic family? I suppose I should have waited for Veronica to come in before I asked that question.
Greetings to all of you. It is Veronica. The question that was asked is, as we were coming in, before somebody forgot to tell us to come in, we see this clearly. When someone crosses over with a very strong belief system, their thoughts are usually able to create an atmosphere of whatever their belief system is. So when they arrive there, they have projected pearly gates. They have projected St. Peter. They have projected the ideology of what their belief system was all about. Unfortunately, they can only project so much. And what happens is that there becomes a loop of energy that is rather repetitive. Their guides and other energies know that this is a fallacy of crossing over, where there's a fallacy that, the pearly gates are going to be there. There is help and assistance because there is a rather awakening moment where the individual realizes that something isn't quite right, that the things are repeating over and over, and they start to question the reality that they're in. They are met by the guides who support them and rather gently tell them that, all right, you're in a loop, and the reality is this, that you are in a space of comfort, you are in a space of unconditional love, but the belief system that you have in place is a bit askew, and here are the reasons why. It's done very lovingly and gently. It's not like someone comes in and pulls the rug out and says, okay, this is what the reality is, too bad for you. It's not that way at all. There is so much compassion and love on the other side that it often softens and helps those who are coming to a realization of what really is. Now, of course, there are those who are a little bit younger souls that might just reincarnate themselves immediately with that perception in place. But those who get there and realize that there's an odd moment, that it's not functioning as they thought it was going to, that the guides and those energies who help in such matters step in and help them to realize what's going on. And the majority of the time there is understanding, rejoicing, and comfort, and knowing, okay, I'm way beyond just one aspect of my belief system. I can go beyond that. So we'd say it's not as hard as one would think it would be, because you're able to see your other selves, whether you have a belief system in place or not. And that starts the whole cycle of questions that often let energies who have crossed start to have the revelation of what's really going on. So it's not scary, it's not debilitating, and it's not an argument. The energy usually comes to terms with it on their own, but there is much support and much unconditional love in the process.
Thank you, Veronica. And, this is another question from the comments from the last episode by Ross. Here's Ross's question. When we are integrated into the spirit world, as you are, Veronica, will we know all that is to be known? Will we wonder about anything? Will any mysteries remain?
As in any progression, there are levels of awareness. When you cross out of physical reality, you do have access to all of yourselves and all of the experience that you have had thus far. When you are in between, there is a lot of information available, but not everything. The beauty of being means that there's always opportunity to expand to another level, whether you're in physical or you're not in physical. Be a sad moment to just spring from a youthful perspective energetically to an advanced level energetically and not have the experience in between to season it with the richness of living. We think that all of you need to understand that evolution occurs in the linear, but it also occurs in the non-physical all the time. And the beauty is that there is always more. And that holds true for both places, linear and nonlinear. The ever-expanding moment of your soul is a beautiful thing, and it continues. Whether you want it to or not, it does. So we'd say take a moment to reflect and then get on with the business of evolution.
Thank you, Veronica. Now, this next question is a little lengthy, so I'm going to paraphrase it, I hope. And it's a question from Catharine Phillips, who wants to know about self-healing, and she's read a lot of books on the subject. And there's a couple questions. Are we really able to completely heal our bodies with our minds by focusing on energy as white light and direct it to wherever that healing is needed within our bodies, whether it is on whatever layer of consciousness? She also asks, and you want to find the exact quote, read it on the comments section, but she said, if so, can we change our minds from, what we originally agreed to as far as how long we're going to live, and completely heal if we decide to do it and live a longer life than we had planned for? Is it all within our power to do so?
Yes, it is. Agreements made, let's say ahead of time you decided that you were going to participate in a disease of some sort that would take you out of the timeline, say in your mid-50s. But as you move through the life, you resolve a lot of your issues and you resolve a lot of the problematic things that would make you want to get out of the life at the age of 55. So as you approach that age, and let's say you manifest what you intended to manifest. Let's say you manifest a cancerous moment. You can make different choices. You can decide to say, you know what, I'm going to go through this cancerous moment, but I've decided not to let it take me out of the reality. I've decided to let me be in the reality as I move through it. And I've decided now I want to live well into my 80s because I've resolved a lot of the heartbreak and difficulties from other time frames, and I wish to enjoy this life and not use a cancerous moment as an exit plan. I'm deciding not to do that. It can be done. It takes a great deal of focus to heal the linear body from sort of a pre-planned moment. We think that it is imperative that if you're moving into healing yourself, that you have a really clear thought process, because your thoughts are what create everything. So if you're abdicating, let's say you have the cancerous moment and you are involved in it at the moment, and you're looking around saying, I don't want to leave. I really don't want to leave. And I don't feel the same way energetically that I did when I made the decisions or plans before I moved into this life. So we would say go into a meditative moment and connect with that energy of you that made these plans to begin with, and realize that you have rescinded the idea of leaving early, that you would like to stay, and that the problematic moments that created that atmosphere have diminished because you looked on them and you have resolved them without having to take yourself out of the timeline. So self-healing is available. It isn't just waving a magic energetic wand and saying, oh, you're healed. There are a lot of steps in it. And there's a lot of knowing and acceptance that you have fixed the rather irregular energy in you, and you don't need to take yourself out of the timeline to continue that. So it's not a question that we can sit and answer like an across-the-board way, because obviously it's very individualistic with each one of you. But we can tell you that it is probable and possible. Change what you put in place when you came in. And we think that's valuable information, and all of you, especially those of you who are under the weather, should take into consideration.
Thank you, Veronica.